And we are live. Cueing theme song.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience.
Reality spirituality.
Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Reality spirituality. You got a question for RLM? Reality spirituality. It's time to get some answers. Reality spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality spirituality. It's time to get down. Reality spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Spirituality.
Time to get real. Time to get the show started. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Global Happiness Specialist, Inner Peace Practitioner, Oracle, Reiki practitioner, fitness instructor, student, mother, but most importantly, I said student already, student, ongoing student. This class is never ending until you breathe your last breath. What's my name? Thanks for asking. It's Rebecca L. Norrington. That's right. I use the L. Happiness specialist. Who the hell does she think she is? Happiness. The nerve. How frivolous. How can you be happy in today's world? Oh, her head must be in the sand. Listen, I get a lot of mail, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of comments, I get a lot of criticism. I've been called toxic, I've been called selfish, I've been called what was my favorite one? What I do can't be measured, therefore I've accomplished nothing. I've been called contributing zero to the planet. Yeah, it's ongoing, but listen, I've been sharing this show, Reality Spirituality, the truth about happiness, for almost 15 years now, starting in 2012, and the anniversary is coming up in August. So yeah, 14, 15 years, and I ain't going to stop. One of the reasons, well, I say that, when I was younger, remember blowing out your candles on the birthday cake and making a wish. I always wished for the same two things. I wanted to live to my potential. I had no idea what that meant, and I wanted to be happy. And so this search, this journey, this seeking happiness has brought me to this place right now, and it's an ongoing journey. Happiness is the same. Let me just be clear. My definition of happiness is the ability to vibrate an energy of peace and contentment regardless of what happens. Happiness is the ability to vibrate a personal energy of peace and contentment, regardless of what happens, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the events, regardless of what's going on in the world. And that's not to say that your head is in the sand, but that's to say that I am rooted. And the truth is, happiness is a practice skill. I am rooted in contentment. I am rooted in peace. I am rooted in trust. I am rooted in focusing on my real identity, which is not this human form. Woo! Can you tell I was on vacation for a week? Yes, went to travel to my favorite place on the planet, which is Roseburg, Oregon. Stayed a little over a week and picked blueberries and peaches and cherries. Uh, uh, Traveled down rivers, hiked. Yeah, it was a very uh, returning to one of the places on the planet that I love. And that's all I'm going to say. Oh, it was the best time. No, it was a returning to. And next moment, let me just today's topic is the same topic that I've been talking about for over 15 years. I teach classes called The Truth About Happiness. I taught them in California for years, in Oregon, and now I'm in Nevada. So it's The Truth About Happiness, and I'm going into my 7th semester, and that's what this show is about. It's, you know, this concept of happiness. Let me be very clear. It is a personal vibration. It is a personal energy. It is nothing to do with anything other than your vibration and your energy. When I say happiness is a practice skill, what I mean by that is focusing on putting a spotlight on all of the programmed behaviors, all of the programmed beliefs, all of the programmed concepts that that I were not born with. When we were hatched, when we were hatched, we didn't have the ability to have an expectation or live in the past or live in the future or compare or blame or worry or take anything personally or maybe being impatient a little bit. Yeah, impatient, especially if you're hungry or you need your diapers changed, but I digress. The practice is focusing on all of the programmed beliefs and one by one eliminating every program behavior and every program belief, stripping it down to your identity, your pure identity, which is presence and awareness. That's who we all are. I know we got the body, we got the name, we got the title, we have the culture, where we're from, but who we really are. It's so funny. Life is so funny. Hold on a second. Let me find this because I wrote it down. As soon as you're born, you're given a name, a nationality, a religion, a race, a culture, and then you spend the rest of your life identifying with it and defending that program. And I'm here to say that the awareness of the programming is most of the work. The awareness of the programming and the awareness that where is that belief coming from? Where is that thought coming from? What is the root of that thought? What is the root of that story? And 99.9% of the time comes back to a program. Me will not experience this thing called freedom, real freedom, until, let me just speak for myself. The freedom is evasive when I identify with the person, when I identify with Rebecca, when I identify with the name, the title, the label, Rebecca. You will not experience real freedom until you stop identifying with your person. I know it sounds way out there, but it is the truth. And when I talk about the identifying, it's not that I ignore or poo-poo or put down or there's anything negative, but it's an awareness. It is a constant awareness. Scratch that. It is practicing a constant awareness. It is practicing constant awareness of who I really am. And it's not this body, and it's not this name, and it's not this journey. Who I really am and what I believe and trust and know is that I am just consciousness having a human experience. And that's it. No more, no less. No judgment of what's a better experience. Consciousness having a human experience. Awareness, presence having a human experience. God, the universe having a human experience. That's all this is. And when that truth is acknowledged, and when that truth is that's enough acknowledged, then this life, this journey becomes so much easier, so much more peaceful. Let me ask you a few questions. Well, before I do that, let me share this. This is what I share at the beginning of all of the shows. The 5 most common regrets of the dying. Now, this was a study done by a hospice nurse, Bronnie Ware, and she asked her patients who had days, weeks, months left to live, what are your 5 biggest regrets? Do you have any regrets? And there are 5 that kept coming up over and over and over again. Number 1, I wish I pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. I put an asterisk by that one. When people are in my life, it's time. It's their time. And when they're not in my life, they're gone for a reason, and they're here for a reason. And so when they're gone, there's a reason for it. So I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's the ultimate. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. That's what I practice. This energy of contentment and happiness is the ultimate state, especially along this journey. Hold on a second. Let me take this out. There is a video that I just saw this week. I want to find it because I have to share it. And it is a game changer. I mean, I listened to a few videos, a lot of, I've shared Moji, Moojiji, Moji channel. You can follow him on YouTube. Great spiritual teacher. But this video is from another YouTube channel. Hold on a second. I have to get the name of this channel to share. It is okay. The name of the YouTube channel is Snake Speak. It's one word, Snake Speak. SNAKESPEAK, Snake Speak. And the title of this particular video is Being Nobody While Paying the Bills. Being nobody while paying the bills. Powerful, powerful video. I cannot recommend it enough. Today's topic, the truth about happiness. What I have come to realize is that everybody, there are the majority of people, I'm going to say majority. The majority of people on this planet, the value and focus is not happiness. It's just not. There's a value to a value of success, whatever that means, which is what usually the masses say is acquiring money, acquiring fame, or acquiring influence, acquiring titles, spotlight, success. Being number one, success. However, after all of that, I'm going to, and this is coming from my own evolution. I'm going to say that those external accomplishments do nothing to fill up the soul. Those external accomplishments do not feed, scratch this fill up, do not feed the soul, do not feed what I address on this show. I was just looking at something in the Philadelphia Egos. That's funny, egos. The Philadelphia Eagles, the football egos. Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and so there was a ring gifting ceremony because everyone that wins the Super Bowl gets a Super Bowl ring. Tom Brady happens to have 7. So anyway, a Super Bowl ring ceremony. So they were at the ceremony and they filmed a little bit. Well, they probably filmed all of it. But anyway, this is the interesting fact. And I've heard from athletes that are being interviewed, from Deion Sanders to Michael Jordan to Tom Brady. All of these achievements in the moment, monstrous achievements, the best in the world. You get to a ranking of being the best in the world in your field, from basketball to football to tennis. But after the game has been won, after the trophy has been kissed, after the ring has been set and sized and worn, does that last? Does that feeling of, shout out to Kendrick Lamar, does that feeling of euphoria last? And when I say euphoria, I'm talking about an energy, a vibration. It's not, oh, it is a rooted energy. Does that feeling of euphoria last? And the answer is always no. And that is why that the ego, the mind, is always searching for something more. Now, listen, the world says, if you're not moving, you're not achieving, you're wasting your life, wasting your time, which is another program, which is another bullshit, wasting time, wasting your life. That's a judgment from a programmed person. Let me just share that one. The feeling, the greatest, from Wimbledon to Super Bowl to what is there's a golf tournament now. All of that feeling, woo, doesn't last. What I'm sharing is, how is it possible to maintain and sustain this level of contentment while journeying on this path, on this road less traveled? And the answer is yes. But I realize this isn't for everyone. Back to the truth about happiness question. I was having a conversation with someone. I'm not even going to say who, with someone. And they were expressing how they were triggered and they were affected by what someone else said, by what someone else, words of someone else. Question. Answer yes or no. Can other people hurt your feelings? Can other people offend you? Can other people disappoint you? Do you blame other people for how you're feeling? Do you blame your circumstances for how you feel? Well, when you're programmed, the answer is always yes. And who is more powerful? The person that can be offended, the person that can have their buttons pushed, the person that can have their feelings hurt, or the person that isn't? The person that is unoffendable, the person that you cannot hurt their feelings. Well, that's not true. That's not even human. That's not even normal. No, that's after the programming. See, the programming is so deep, and with the belief that someone else can trigger, someone else can make me feel a certain way. I get it. I promise you. I used to be that person. I used to believe that other people could make me feel here or here. And it's just not the truth. There is nothing that anyone says or does that's personal unless you are programmed to believe it's personal. There's nothing wrong with accomplishments, wealth, titles, accolades, fame, trophies, awards, social media likes, or amassing millions of followers or millions and billions of dollars. But it's time to tell the truth. None of these above mentioned, none of them, without exception, equate to happiness. Now, it's totally up to the individual, but I believe that there is a point that most people get to, especially toward the end of their lives. And wow, huh, the regrets, the just like the 5 most common regrets of the dying. I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's all I'm sharing here is can scratch that. That's contentment for me is number 1. It's number 1 over everything, including health, including my only bambino. The contentment, the energy of peace is the ultimate of accomplishments. Not to say that that's all that I do, but that is number 1. And that's not taught, and that's not practiced, and it's not popular, and it doesn't, yeah, it's not one of those shiny objects. What do people sell? The masses sell sex. Uh, what else do they sell? The masses sell discontentment. Be discontented with who you are, what you've accomplished. Be discontented with with life. Look back, find mistakes. That's a program. I'm getting off the track. The truth about happiness is it is not valued. It is not awarded. It is not held as as the ultimate goal. And in fact, for a lot of people, this state of being, this happiness is not only frivolous, a waste of time, useless, they're contributing zero to the planet. Well, whatever you're vibrating is what you're contributing. Your vibration is your contribution. When you getting back to being triggered and getting back to having your feelings hurt and getting back to being offended, when someone or something can offend you, trigger you, take you to another place of emotion and or feeling, you are a programmed robot. Not only that, but those people or that circumstance has control over you. You no longer have control. Your control is being given away. I'm going to say consciously or unconsciously given away. The programming, and I'm going to keep going back to it because I believe that it is the programming as to why there is suffering, not the actual act, not the actual experience. And I know trust me, I've heard all of the hypotheticals. I've heard all of them. The question becomes, what the question becomes, what do you value? The question becomes, what is important to you? What is important? Because I'm here to tell you that the string of checking off the goals, checking off the to-do list, checking off all of those has a temporary is a temporary fix. The ego, the mind is constantly wanting, needing, desiring more than what the present moment is what the present moment is gifting. The ego, the mind is not here in the present moment. It is in tomorrow. And if you're really, really suffering, it is in yesterday too. Can you imagine truly living in the present moment? Living in the present moment means that there are no triggers possible, because all triggers come from the past. There are no hurt feelings because all of the judgments come from the past. Truly living, scratch that, practicing living in the present moment and being aware that the triggers are from yesterday, not from today, not from the moment. And then you carry this baggage or this suitcase into your present moment. You are always going to be in a state of unrest. You are always going to be in a state of imbalance. You are always going to be in a state of anxiety when you are held hostage by the past. And it is a hostage situation. Millions, billions. I mean, look at who is Elon Musk the most? Is he the wealthiest man in the world? The wealthiest man in the world has everything, anything, can buy everybody 5 million times over, all of them. Does that have anything to do with the level of contentment? And I get it, because the level and energy of contentment isn't valued and isn't prized as a goal. Not usually. It's all the other thing. There's a doing, traveling, checking it off. And there's no judgment here. It's just making an observation. I'm just here to tell you, you are either vibrating an energy of satisfaction or dissatisfaction in any moment. The truth about happiness is it is a practice skill. And the truth about happiness, all of the practice is done in the mirror. All of the practice, all of the work is done in the mirror. And that's why the majority of people aren't rushing to the mirror for their answers, for their solutions. No, it's always out there. And self-awareness is key. Being self-aware of what you're saying and why you're saying it, what you're saying and what the agenda is behind it. the agenda of your words, the agenda of your behavior. What are you wishing to scratch the wishing? What are you wanting to create? Peace or drama? In any moment, you are either creating peace or drama. No judgment on either one. But what what I'm going to share is having this preference of peace, creating peace, maintaining peace. That means not saying something when the mouth wants to shout out. That means sitting on what the mind wants to express. That means silencing, giving less focus and less power to what the mind and the stories say must come out. You know, I waited, I don't know why I waited to the end of the show to share this one. Thanks, universe, for that setup. I'll share it at the beginning of the show next week. It is about this story is about recognizing how destructive and how I'm going to say destructive. I'm not going to say destructive, but how unpeaceful life is when you're not aware. So there was a man in a boat. And there was a man in a boat. And so he was, just on the river drifting, and he sees this other boat coming towards him. At first it looks slow, but then the boat starts coming a little bit faster. And so the man in the boat is looking and saying, what if this boat stays on its course, it's going to hit me. If this boat doesn't turn left or right, we're going to collide. And the man in the boat starts coming up with all of these stories. Who's driving the boat? They must be drunk. They must be on drugs. What's wrong with them? Are they crazy? They're going to hit my boat. And sure enough, without fail, the other boat that has been coming towards this man in the boat forever, seems like forever. The story seems like forever. Hits the man in the boat, and the man in the boat falls down, tumbles around. It was a hard impact. And the man in the boat gets up and looks in the boat and getting ready to fight and or curse or the fuck's wrong with you? You just hit my boat. Caused me injury. My arm is bruised. And he's looking around, and guess what? There's nobody in the boat. The boat was empty. There wasn't a driver, there wasn't a passenger, it was an empty boat. Now the guy that got hit with this boat, there's no story. There's no story behind the boat hitting his boat other than the current ran that boat into his boat. And that's what this life is all about. Why didn't I start this from the beginning of the show? That's what this life is all about, is putting a story to all of these instances, impacts how life impacts. Putting a story, adding a story to it. getting ready to be angry, to be mad, to just be on offense. But when there's no story, then what? How do you feel when there's no story? So I suggest that the practice is live your life without the stories. The current, which is really God, the universe, is in charge of everything that happens. These people aren't doing anything. This life isn't doing anything personally to me. It is just part of my human experience. There was nobody in the boat, nobody to blame, nobody to point a finger at. It's just part of the experience. And then you can find yourself just calming down and know that these people, family, friends, loved ones, partners, they are just reacting based on what the universe wants to experience through them. It's just a current. Let me check my notes. The other thing I want to share is these thoughts and the stories and the analyzing and the theorizing and the conclusions and the contemplations. How can you come up with a peaceful solution, a peaceful conclusion, only using one perspective, only using the mind? It's impossible. The mind will never offer anything peaceful. The mind is not about peace. The mind is about turmoil, conflict, back and forth. So it's practicing being aware of transcending the mind, transcending this, going beyond and above what this can offer, can only offer. I want to read something about thoughts, because I believe that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, reasons for suffering. There is nothing in this world that can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. Most people believe that suffering comes from the world, from circumstances, from other people, from forces beyond their control. But look closely and you will find that the storm is not outside, it is within. A thought arises, a fleeting whisper in the wind, but instead of letting it pass, you grasp it, you analyze it, you turn it over and over again until what once was a mere ripple becomes a raging sea. And so you suffer, not because of the reality itself, but because of the way you think about reality. But here's the secret: the same mind that creates the prison also holds the key. If you can observe your thoughts, if you can practice observing your thoughts without clinging to them, without feeding them, you'll see them for what they truly are: passing clouds in the sky of your awareness. You are not your thoughts. You are the space in which they come and go. And that's by Alan Watts. And that's the end of today's show. I want to remind you that Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, it is a best international seller, best Amazon seller, We all know that that's just a formula. Program for Unhappiness is on Amazon right now. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors that subtract from happiness and contentment. And I also list 26 behaviors that will add to your happiness and your contentment, which again is an energy. And with all of that, I just want to say that thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the show. That's the end of today's show. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Visit my website, RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RLNorrington. LinkedIn, Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. And my YouTube, too early. And my YouTube channel is Rebecca Norrington. My first book, Reality Spirituality. The Truth About Happiness, is also on Amazon. But the latest book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, that's on. And until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. Your conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting yourself in every moment. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about a journey. Listen to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, Rebecca L. Norrington. And remember, happiness is a practice skill. And I promise you, the more you practice, the more peace you're going to find. Have a conscious week. Wait a minute. Where's my song?
Oh, it's time to get real.
Spirituality.
It's a new experience.
Reality, spirituality.
Yeah, keep your ears open.
Reality, spirituality.